Here's a crazy question for you, Renee, because I thought of this. I know you have housemates. Obviously, it's not your house that you live in, but do you guys each have your own renter's insurance policy? Do you have a renter's insurance policy?
Yeah, it's like $20 with AAA.
Okay, even though he's got the homeowners and living there. Okay, yeah, it's cheap. Just you got to, especially the liability. But anyway, just curious. Anywho,
It actually, little known fact, renter's insurance also covers you on your car.
yeah, if somebody steals out of your car, they cover it. Yep.
It's a heat wave across the United States today, except in Southern California where it's freezing.
I'm in Silver Lake and it's a bit windy here. So
Is there a heat wave? I'm living in the fog. I have like at 65.
Yeah, it's like 107 in Bishop right now.
Oh,
Here's my other question. I know on Google Meet, there's a way to change over to make the phone your camera. Is there a way to do that on Zoom?
We can switch to Google Meet. Are you?
No, I could care less. I was just curious to see which camera looks better.
But now I'm getting peer pressured by everybody that Zoom's done and I should be on Google Meet for everything.
Really? So
yeah,
flipping around.
yesterday we actually got told the other way around.
Well, the other day, I had a meeting, and this is a well-funded tech company, and they all moved to Google like 3 months ago. And
Google has to come out with improvements to Google Voice. They know that.
Yeah, it was funny. They all shame me like, we haven't been on Zoom in months. No one uses Zoom anymore. I'm like, well, you don't. But it made me feel like an old person, like using MySpace or something.
I know. We should buy AOL for $1 and just make it a video chat thing.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
This is already more engaging than most of our podcasts. We haven't even started.
But you are recording, so
it's like the latest shows I'm watching on TV. They start the intro like 7 minutes in. So we're just starting. Fred's freezing in Silver Lake.
It's like a preamble to a record. You used to have that back in the 50s and 60s where they'd sing something, but then the real song would start. And I'm trying to remember a song that started like that. Oh, Beatles song. You do da 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 da. And then it went into the song Here, There, and Everywhere. So there you go. That's what we've done. I'm sure there's a name for it. Anyway,
welcome to We Fix Real Estate. Lots on deck today. I was sharing with René our Tesla. It's not real estate involved.
Oh yeah, your wife just got it.
We just got a Tesla. 4 days later, we picked it up. It had a rattle in it. Like there's a piece of plastic stuck in the air conditioner. So in 2 weeks,
don't you need to pay extra for that?
Well,
that's another $12,000.
They said it's a 1 day. It'll take a day to pull the whole front apart and get the rattle out. 3 days later, she was driving back from the hospital, blew a tire on the freeway, completely shredded it, and there's no spare. And I guess so. I was telling René that the big tip is no tires are covered at all if you're moving. Any car company, no matter how new the tire is, you could be one minute off the lot. If it blows, it's your responsibility. So, but the expert thing to do is drive straight to a discount tire and buy the warranty on those new tires, because then you get
they'll sell you a warranty even though they didn't sell the tire.
Absolutely. So
they must be making a fortune on
that. But the new tire, that's $40 times 4. So for that $160, you're covered.
Nice.
And so we're $500 into it because we bought the one tire and then bought the warranty on the 4 tires.
Warranty. Excellent news. This is how we fix transportation. We fix transportation, part of our We Fixed Real Estate.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me, but it makes total sense. And most people don't think about that.
There you go. I
mean, it makes sense, but all insurances are all scams.
They're all money-making ventures. I wouldn't call them scams. Okay.
It is designed to, there's always a winner and a loser, and they're betting you're not going to use the warranty, and you're betting that you're going to, you're always
use it 20 times. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
So let's see. We've got a lot of topics on deck.
Just throw them out since you are the host.
So I'm new to this. I guess for last year, there's been a mansion tax in LA.
Yeah.
Thought they were going to raise like $1 billion, but they've only raised like 600 million. And now people are like listing their houses at 4.995, so they don't have to pay the mansion tax, because at 5 it hits 4%.
Yeah, but it just do the math. If you're going to get $6 million for the place, what's it going to cost you in the tax as opposed to getting 499,999? And all that does also is allow for bags of money to be transferred, crypto, side deals. And the fact that there aren't a lot of sales is also because everybody put their houses up for sale before it hit. All the stars, everybody in the know, and lots of houses transferred because people were able to buy without having to worry about the tax. So that took a lot of inventory on the market. I have a buyer who's in the hills. He can go up to, I don't know, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, stuff comes on, but nothing comes off. It's really odd. We were looking at one house and it literally just, they claimed they had an offer and then it just went off the market.
Tax. I mean, if you're going to pay the tax, you want to get your money, right? So you're not just going to sell quickly. Like you want your number and that's it. No, I'll just keep it on the market longer. That's how you play it.
Exactly. The supply demand situation right now seems to be kind of balanced up there. But, so the big money is not going crazy or they're buying somewhere else or, there's certain prestige streets that people want to be on and not just take any house. So there's a lot of ego involved. I've never, ever watched any of those shows about the Sunset people and all the drama.
The Shaws of Sunset, $1 million.
Whatever, the whatevers. I don't know.
But I think Fred just wants to hate on a show just because he's
there's ego. I don't have an ego, so I'm not really impressed with egos and show offs, and it doesn't amuse me.
If you're selling your home for $10 million, listing through Arrivva, you could offset some of that mansion tax.
Oh God, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Drew, for feeding that one to me on a silver platter. So here's the deal. Let's assume, and this is probably a very good assumption, that in order to list your house, that's, big numbers and fancy dancy, you're going to pay, let's just say 3%. Maybe you get 2.5%, but they're going to show you their value of selling your bazillion-dollar house. So you're going to pay somebody on a $10 million house $300,000. $300,000. I don't know, 6 weeks worth of work, maybe. It's crazy. So what we do, and we don't care about the price of your house. It's $15,750. And you're saying to yourself, well, at that price, I mean, that's ridiculous. It's too low, but it's not low. And here's why. Because we pay for all the inspections. We pay for all the photography. We pay for a thorough cleaning of the house before it goes on the market. And we present it in a positive way. We can restrict showings to only people who are pre-approved or have cash. We know how to do all the process and put it on the MLS and let everybody see it. I mean, we don't do private listings because it just doesn't benefit the buyer or the seller. It's just crazy. But so 300,000 minus about 15,750, or I should say exactly 15,750. Do the math. It's a lot of money to save. And part of it goes to the tax, and then you're still walking away with more money. Do the math. We should build a little spreadsheet that people can put in the price. We'll figure what the city tax is, and then it'll show what our commission is versus their commissions. And then they can see who's got the better deal and why you should just pay the tax and get out.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, and by the way, we don't require you to put a buyer broker fee. You can have nothing. And people buying a $10 million house can afford their buyer broker. So no need for a buyer broker fee. That's just silly. It's just beyond silly. So, okay, that's it.
Let's mention tax. And Renee, I've got a scribbled note here that we were supposed to talk about navigating real estate in non-disclosure states.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to have to wait for next week because I didn't really do a lot of research on that. But one thing I'll mention this time is the fact that Huh?
Tease it for
Yeah,
next week.
I'll tease, and it's quite obnoxious that in markets like Idaho, you can't see what a house sold for. You have to depend on an agent to see what the sale price was. And I think that's just ridiculous. It's not consumer friendly. So
Really? I didn't know that. So if I go to Zillow and I look at houses like in Coeur d'Alene, I'm not going to be able to see the sales history?
and that's exactly where I was trying to find a home, actually.
Really?
So, yeah. There's 10
But
states.
if you remember the MLS, you can see the data, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So
Now here's the question: does that MLS allow you to publish that data?
Yeah. No, yeah.
I don't know that the answer to that question.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into it, and that's what I want to come down.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know in Texas, same thing. They don't make it public.
Yeah, there's 10 states that do that. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, check in next week and we'll give you the lowdown on that.
There you go.
One thing that I got to tell you is I got to take better notes because I've got just these random things going on here. I'm just going to lay it out here. Why was the house relisted so quickly? Can we get into insight and why it sold in April and relisted?
Yeah. Can we get the insight why the house wasn't sold in April? I got that message from one of my people on Slack about a house, single family in Orange County. And oh, by the way, they ended up not even replying to the seller counteroffer on that one where the woman was from the CRMLS. So she's off in the distance. But this new one, it came on the market, went off the market, came back on the market, and we just want to know why. And it's always interesting what the agent can say. They could say, oh, it was no fault of the property. But how do you know that? You have no proof. Okay. Oh, do you have a home inspection? Well, they didn't give it to us. Okay. And that happens. And then they don't have to disclose anything. Or it was the mortgage. They didn't qualify or something. Okay. I'm sure you got a copy of the cancellation of the mortgage because you need that to be able to do that because you can't lie about that. Oh, no, we didn't get that. We trusted them. So you just don't know. So the idea is take a more cautious approach when looking at a house that comes back on the market, unless it comes back in like 2 days, because that means the buyer didn't make the deposit. Let's say 3 days. Something that quick, or they lost their job. So it's not going to have anything to do with the property if it's really quick, because they usually don't get an inspector that quick. Even if they do get the paperwork and back and forth. So, but just keep an eye on it. It can only be two things. The person didn't get their mortgage, or they walked away and abandoned the transaction, or something with the property that bothered them.
Well, actually, I will counter that with look at who the listing agent of the property is, right? A good agent that's been on the industry for a long time, that I guess it's hard, right? But a good agent that has a history of knowing listings, right, that don't fall through, they're not going to take a contract that is ridiculous, that has terms that are going to make it so that it comes back on the market. Now, if you have a new agent or an agent that seems like they only work with investors that are overpricing things or that are just trying to move things quickly, you should think about, okay, what happened here in the house? Did someone make an offer ridiculously high, but with a contingency so that they could negotiate down? And the sellers were like, no, I'm not going to take that. Because the one strategy is that a lot of people try to do is like, oh, well, we'll make an offer at $1 million and we'll just use the inspection to lower the price. Well, then at that point, like, no, the sellers, there was nothing wrong with the house, but the sellers just wanted a huge deal. So at that point, the sellers say like, no, I'm not going to take that deal. And there was nothing wrong with the house. So there's a little bit of both. And it's one of those things where we have to want to decipher. I mean, if we're able to put an inspection contingency afterwards, that's great. But there's things that are still going to, go back to pending immediately after getting out of the contract, because there is a lack of inventory. And I mean, Fred loves to say this all the time, that you're not buying the house, right? You're buying the land. So if it's in a good location, it doesn't matter what's wrong with the house. People are still going to buy it.
There you go. It's called real property.
Yeah.
Real estate is just a physical building. Real property is what you're buying. All the mineral rights, if you have them. I know a guy who made $1 million selling out to one of the oil companies for shelling rights or drilling rights in his house. Yeah. What was that? Where they're going sideways?
Oh, fracking?
Fracking. Yeah. So sold it to somebody fracking, made $1 million, moved to Florida. So,
wow.
Nice guy. Yeah.
Talking about $1 million
Anyway.
bucks. What's this price discrepancy I see here on the Slack you sent over to me on June 1st? It was listed for 1.9 million and sold for 3 million. $1 million over listing.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to say welcome to Cupertino.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 million over asking.
Yes. And now she can go to the people down the street who want to sell. Oh, we got $1 million over asking. Well, guess what? The house was worth 3 million. Maybe it was worth 2.8, 2.9. Put it up at 2.7, and you'll get the same 3 million without a bunch of dodo birds who don't know what they're doing, putting in offers at 100 over list. I mean, the waste of time. I mean, I complain about this all the time, but you as a consumer, if you go through this, you get pissed off. Be realistic with your prices. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to help concentrate with quality rather than quantity.
It should be a 10% plus minus like variance. Like that's a lot.
Okay.
It's fraud.
How do you figure out what 10% is going to be though? Because we don't know. I mean, you can be the best real estate broker in the world, but you don't know which buyers are going to come into your house. You don't know who's going to come in with an agent that doesn't have real estate knowledge and is going to just throw in a number for you to offer. So how do you actually market transparently? Do you just use the last comp that might have been bought by an investor already that got it, or by an investor that got a really good deal? So you market to the house next door. So there's no real way. Like we can complain all we want about like how agents, misprice listings, and yes, some do it overboard. But if you want to list a property that's 3 million and listed at 299, that's a risk. That's a risk because you could be overpricing it. So there's no way, there's no 10% number to really go out off of. That's the difficulty of listing residential real estate, right?
So in markets like Cupertino, they're just going bananas with multiple listings. I mean, not multiple listings. I'm sorry, multiple offers going on, and no one. Such a discrepancy. $1 million over. Would an auction process make sense where everyone can just put in their offers and see what the other offers are and bid it up to the point that the person does it?
What if I were to tell you,
in a perfect world, yes,
we are actually working on a process where you're going to be able to log into a website. There's a lot of registration involved, and you're going to be able to put in offers in on properties, and it's going to be live scoreboard. You're going to show price, mortgage, if you're going to do one, if it's a cash deal, how many days or you're going to waive inspections and appraisal, all that kind of stuff, and maybe agree to a rent back if they need it. And it's just going to be fun.
The only way for something like that to work is if the people who are on the other side, who are buyers, actually put in their money in there so that you can verify that they're real offers before they get accepted. That would be the only way.
No. The way it'll work is the winner gets an email and says you have to send the following things within an hour.
And what happens?
You go to the next person.
But you have to have earnest money. You have to be approved. You can't let
Well, you can't have earnest money till you have a contract.
Oh, well, seems like you need to be pre-approved or something.
Okay, but yeah, absolutely. We're going to work on all those details. I just wanted to throw the headline out.
That's exciting. I like that idea. And so it's like almost a one step beyond the on the stairs auction where it's live auction.
Yeah, like Australia, which is insane.
Yeah, historically we actually did the first website when they came over here. For that auction thing, hard courts. That was 10 years ago, but
yeah, they're still around. I don't really see them. I mean, it makes no sense to pay the auction fees. It's always higher. And you don't need a separate auctioneer's license in California as long as you got a real estate broker's license. So it's another form of pricing.
Interesting.
There you go.
Talk about what are we talking about? Property taxes. And
yeah.
So
I saw this TikTok, and we'll put up the link from this estate planning lawyer, and I'll just read what he wrote here. California investment properties stay low by putting them into revocable living trusts. So he's basically saying that if you put it into this trust, they can't really raise your real estate taxes. I don't know how deep that is or what the context is, but go check the link out if you want to see that. It's very interesting. We're not financial planners, so we don't get involved in that stuff.
But yeah,
even if I knew a little bit, I wouldn't want to say anything, give any advice. But check that out because that looks awesome.
Especially if you're trying to pass your house down through the family and you're not looking for a resale, you got to have some proper estate planning.
Totally.
You guys are getting behind the scenes today. Now I'm looking at this other feedback requested for your showing on what's going on there.
Feedback. Okay. These real estate agents use some kind of a system. There's a company called Showing Time that they just, you make an appointment, like in Washington State, they use it. You click on there to make an appointment to see the property. Then it goes through, they have to approve it or sometimes or whatever. But what's also attached to this showing system is a request for feedback on the showing. And most of the time we're not there. We hire people, and the only feedback we care about is are our buyers interested in putting an offer in or getting more information. Other than that, obviously they're not interested. But these guys keep not only sending by email these requests for feedback, but they're still using the telephone to think I have time to stop everything I'm doing to tell them about, some kind of thing about the house or the buyers. And I get agents still. I had one yesterday who wrote me an email, after we just requested disclosures and inspections because they weren't on the MLS. Like normally we just click a button and get it. And I said, I requested that. And she sent us back, well, I want to talk to you and talk about your buyers. And it's like, no, ma'am, they're qualified, period. That's all you need to know. Because I don't want to get into a conversation with her. And that's what these real estate agents do. The listing agent talks to the buyer broker. If you've got a buyer broker that loves to talk, not just find out information, but just yak and yak, she may be able to, the listing agent might be able to find out something from your buyer agent that you really didn't want them have the listing agent know. Like they have to buy a house. He's got to be here on August 15th. So the wife loves the house, everything's just perfect colors and whatever. It's like, okay, we can jack the price up on them because they need it. We just do not have conversations with people generally, especially in advance. They won't even give us disclosures without that. It's crazy. Finally, she in turn sent the disclosures. And now here's the funniest thing. I went to her website, and she's listing all of these things about her person, how many children she has, how many grandchildren she has, where she went to school, a whole bio. Then she lists parents, and she put all three are still alive and over 95. That's right. I said all three parents are still alive. Okay, so interesting.
Wow.
I guess I just hear complaints. Our whole business revolves around working with people, right? So to say like, oh, we never talk to them, I think first of all is taken out of context. Secondarily,
I'm just talking about the things we're not interested in anymore.
Sure,
if we're interested, we're going to talk to people when necessary.
Okay, but sometimes you got a buyer that is thinking about it, but they don't want to pay a certain price. And you answer that phone call, and guess what? The seller's agent tells us, oh, they're willing to accept 80K below list. Or
Sure.
no, or you're setting up or you want to set up a second appointment. That call from an agent who wants feedback is idiotic from their end. If the listing is new, right? If the listing is new, an agent should not be calling you for feedback.
No.
It's an offer. Why? Because you're doing your sellers a disservice. I know that if you're calling me immediately, it means that you're antsy because you're worried that you're not getting any traction. Because if it's a good listing, you're busy with answering other people's like everybody asking questions, right? So you don't have time to be answering for feedback, right? So you just let.
And also, here's the other thing. I used to answer it years ago, but then I thought to myself, wait a second, you're the listing agent. Do you not know what's wrong with the property, or why doesn't it show? What he's trying to do is make it easy for him to go to his seller and say, yeah, they said it was this or that. But again, there's this communications link between the agent and the seller.
If depending on what type of client, some clients want that feedback to fix things. Yeah, some sellers don't want to fix things. If you're a builder, well, you know what? All our builder clients want to know, okay, what is the feedback of the house? Because builders are building more houses. So you want that feedback. And you have even the big builders that Thomas James, Lennar, I'm sure Lennar and Toll Brothers, they get feedback because they want to do better on their next house.
They do market research too.
Yeah. So it's market research. So yes, we don't need to get on a call with every agent asking for feedback. And
that's my point.
Ask for that or being overly ridiculous, really. But at the same time, the whole whether you're in a relationship, whether it's working in a restaurant, whatever you name it, if you can't have good communication, you're not going to do well in business. You're going to do a disservice to clients. I think that's the bottom line to it. So
totally.
What about direct comments? Because I swear I remember seeing a comment section on Redfin or Zillow where people that toured the house could leave a comment.
No, that's the Redfin agents who have access to that. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, but remember, they're a corporation. They're not going to let,
So like I couldn't go leave a comment saying toured the house.
No, not even.
So one thing that I would want to build is something like that. The idea that people go to homes and they review the house that they went to. It's like, hey, this one, it's too loud. That way, people don't have to go there.
Well, you know what? Here's Google Map. I mean, each house has a latitude and longitude. You're there, and you just go and you put that in there and do a review. Maybe
you can't review houses.
I guess I wouldn't trust people looking at the houses because they may leave a bad comment just because they want to wait a couple more weeks to put in an offer.
I mean, yeah, it could be all manipulated, and this would have to be well thought out. But yeah, it's a good idea. And I'm wondering, we can get an IDX. IDX is Internet Data Exchange of MLS data, but we have to do it in their format.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering, because Redfin does stuff underneath that's not MLS stuff, like their competitive ratings and such. Maybe we could build some sort of a intertwine with, say, some kind of chat thing.
Yeah.
But verify people some way or another. All right.
Comments have power. And we saw that this week with NAR Pride Month, drawing 900 negative comments when they first put out their posts.
What a bunch of assholes. Okay? It's like, get over yourselves. Why are you so homophobic? What do you think they're going to do to you? How is your life going to change?
And sadly, this pandemic just NAR. I mean, you see these kind of negativity across all industries. For any company that wants to align themselves with Pride Month.
I wonder if so I haven't really looked into all the commentary as to what's going on, but
it doesn't matter. I don't even read it.
But I wonder if it's actually homophobia or just the fact that people are tired that these companies on June 1st put in the rainbow logo. People don't want that.
How does that affect your life? I don't understand. That's what.
So
whatever.
So that's something that I would complain about. So.
I mean, we don't care who you are. We don't care what you do. long as you're qualified, you got either the cash or fully underwritten pre-approval, and you're looking to buy. It's a pleasure. We like dealing with people.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why we try to limit our even our knowledge of who you are and what you do, because we're trying to protect you against fair housing violations, right? Mm-hmm. Because while we don't care who you are and what you prefer or whatever that may be, it's still common in this day and age where people are racist and sexist, and they're going to dismiss you because of who you are. And I've pitched the idea. So as we talk about like the bidding, the blind bidding process and stuff that Fred's building, I've actually told people this idea, and you still get people who say, "Well, I don't want that to be blind. I want to know who I'm selling the house to because I want to know who my old neighbors are going to live with, because they're still my friends." So you still have this discrimination against people. So it's hard. It's why we try to tell you don't go to the open house and act like if you love the house, because we're trying to minimize the other party's knowledge of who you are and what you do, because they should be concerned. They should be concerned with if you're qualified and if you're able to afford the house. And we get these calls all the time. Like I have to respond, and sometimes I get on the phone with these agents and I say like, "Hey, like, did you know that I know your sellers aren't interested, but I'm gonna have to ask you to please tell your sellers that it's a fair housing violation." And they should.
I mean, these people go through continuing ed, and every year they're supposed to take this fair housing stuff, and they probably just get their assistants to do it, and they don't care, and they've been doing this for years, and there's no penalty.
Well, there's
nobody's getting put in jail for it. No, there's no enforcement. These people do violations and NAR issues, and just NAR doesn't do anything.
What enforcing?
They're not. Well, you can put in a realtor complaint between realtors, and then you go through a whole process there. But what happens is it's not revealed public, so you have no idea who the bad guys are.
I mean, I think there should be a commission for all this, an enforcement agency, just like there's.
Yeah, I mean, the state can only do so much, for little stuff that it takes them years. I mean, there's just no way except, I don't know.
I mean, there should be for housing.
Okay, so here's an idea. We you hire a journalist independently to write a blog or an online newspaper and get the information and put it out there, literally. In some newspaper about the real thing about real estate, not from real estate agents, just an independent journalist. So there's an idea for a journalist.
Yeah.
There's TikTok channels. We got our friend Wendy who does consumer stuff. But yeah, it sucks. There's so many things you don't know about that are behind the scenes and manipulating agreements. It's
talking about behind the scenes. You shot me a Slack earlier today about clients' interest in the property.
Yeah, I think I already spoke about this earlier. And that was part of an earlier segment. It was kind of a combination of things. But we had a transaction where the other agent, she sent a counter, but with the counter in California, you're supposed to send the signed contract. She didn't do that. I called her on it. And her sellers withdrew their counter up because I was telling her to do the right thing. Yeah. No names, no locations, but in California, it happened.
Just do the right thing.
And there you go. And see, I could file a violation against this agent if I was a realtor for realtor to realtor thing, because it's a car thing. She's going to keep on doing it, and somebody else is going to call her on it. So, not my problem.
Well, this is so. I mean, if you look at the person's license number, it's a fresh license number. So this is a partially based out of the lack of education. An agent who is fresh out of getting a license and gets a listing, and they don't have a support system that tells them, "Hey, this is how things should be done." So on that end, yes, there's errors on their end. Now, again, Sellers have, I mean, we don't know the other side of the story. Obviously they had
The
multiple
sellers, let me give you a little context. The sellers were two real estate agents who were doing a flip on a condo,
offers. Okay.
who also didn't want to give the contract. So it's I don't know how to even.
No, I mean, so people, you forget. I mean,
It's just-
the thing is, sometimes you forget. I mean, we are still in a seller's market for a
Mhm.
lot of real estate, especially in California.
Yeah. And you know
So-
what? Sellers should know this, that they have to sign the entire contract if they're sending out a counter offer. So that's something for sellers to know. That's what I wanted to really say.
Okay, sure. But what I'm saying is that sellers should know, I mean, buyers should know that they're not going to get second chances sometimes. They have to send a good offer, or else they're going to be they're possibly losing a deal because they got something cleaner and they're not going to get back. So the fact that we got a counter offer, that's a blessing, right? That's luck sometimes.
Yeah. And we'll try to find out from agents in advance if their seller has an appetite for a second round. Because sometimes it's a trust and they just say, hey, we're just going to take the top bid, whatever comes in, and be done with it. So you don't know. So don't try to find out. And if you can't find out, you're better off making your highest and best offer, because then it's got a chance.
That's a great point. Like if you can find out, will there be a second round, or what's the possibility of a second round? That's important. That's important.
Totally important.
Speaking of luck, René, are you still there? You're out in the hot seat.
He's always got something running out of power.
But no, putting me on the spot.
How did the gold mining go? Did you do that yet?
Oh no, I haven't. I'm gonna do that in a couple weeks.
Have you been prepping it at all?
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna collect all our. I've been thinking about getting a metal detector for gold.
Does it work?
It does.
Seems like it'd be too.
Go on the beach. Are you going to be one of those guys on the beach?
No, not on the beach. No, gold is found in. I mean, back when the gold rush happened, there was gold everywhere. But no, now it's only on specific locations. The problem isn't whether the gold metal detector works, but whether it makes sense. Because a new metal detector is $500. You're not gonna find $500 of gold, right?
Are you doing like
you got
a sluice? Are you do you have one of those sluice boxes?
I
set
do.
up?
Yeah, I do. I do own a sluice, and we have about 6 different sized pans. And we have a magnet for black sand. Yeah, no, we have the full.
Oh, you're a real deal.
Yeah, no. We're
green pan out there.
We're professionals. We're professionals out here.
Yeah, so you got your secret plot diagrams and.
Yeah, no, we have a friend that owns a plot as well. So there's different.
Now, does it get
ways
kind
to
of
find the gold.
competitive out there? Like if someone sees you in your little secret area,
Are we what?
does it get competitive when you see fellow miners out there?
There's people that ask like, "Oh, did you find any gold?" And the whole idea is that says like, "Oh, we could be." You know, it's like you never want to tell people like, "Hey, I found a bunch of gold here." They're strangers. So
Yeah, it's like the fishing hole. I'll go around there and catch all my fish.
Yeah. But exactly. But there's not a lot of people out there. I don't think. So
It's cool. We'll put the Latin long in the comments for anybody that wants to meet you there.
yeah. Actually,
it's kind of a combination hike and gold finding.
mm-hmm.
I can't wait to hear about that. Stay tuned, everyone.
I'll make a video.
We should start running buses out to there for the day from San Francisco and show them the special hike and bring lunch and wine and cheese.
No, I think before the pandemic, there was a lot of tour buses that were from like Napa to San Francisco to Sacramento.
Yeah,
and they haven't come back yet.
there you go. It's a business idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fascinating. Fred, last thoughts? Final thoughts? Any thoughts? I'm sure you have thoughts.
Final thoughts. Yeah. Okay, Stanley Cup Finals start in about 48 hours.
Ooh.
I would like to see the Oilers win in 6. So write that down, kids.
Oilers and
It's time for Canada to get the cup back. Then it'll feel like hockey. The Stanley Cup in Fort Lauderdale, it's just It don't make sense. I'm sorry. I'm one of those guys.
Yep. No, I can appreciate that. And the NBA finals are finally starting. Sure seems like these NBA finals go on forever.
I don't follow the NBA. Sorry. I think, what is it? Boston and
I don't follow it either, but I just can't believe you're looking at a really big sport guy here. If anybody's listening, they should be laughing right now. But it does seem like it's drawn out even more than like the baseball playoffs.
They all draw it out. And you know what? They all try to get the best time slot for TV. That's what it's all about. That's all. And when the rake is available, and that's it. So,
Renee, how about you? What are your final thoughts?
I'm sorry for all of you that are dealing with the heat wave. I'm experiencing the beauty of 65-degree weather in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's perfect for there. It's about 64 here, and Fred's got a sweatshirt up in Silver Lake, and it's probably 63.
Probably 68, but it's just that breeze. It's a wind chill.
Yeah. That's that thing, but you drive 10 minutes inland and it'll be 100 or 80.
Microclimates. I mean, it's all over California.
Well,
but just be prepared for anything.
Everyone, if you're still listening, have a great rest of your day. I guess this is the end of We Fix Real Estate for this episode.
See ya.